The idea behind this metrics is to allow the student to better understand their own leadership. So the student have to stop and think about themselves, about who they are. Looking at given that you have certain personality trait, how are these related to leadership, leadership emergence, leadership effectiveness. These are two sets of leadership behavior. So the leadership, servant leadership is more a positive aspect of leadership, whereas Machiavellian leadership is more a negative aspect. So at least the student, if you stop and reflect about your own score here, you would know whether are you inclined towards the Machiavellian leadership side or are you inclined towards the servant leadership side. And furthermore, the Bowman and Deal, this model is actually very good to allow the student to think about how their mind work, how do they see the world, what is in their thinking when they want to solve problem, when they encounter opportunity, how do they think in their mind. So having analyzed 4.1 structural frame and looking at some of the relationship that you have highlighted, this one you have to choose on your own what makes sense to you, how you understand yourself in this structural aspect. Then looking at one implication is enough. After you have finished HR frame, symbolic frame, and think about your political frame as well. So now you have to identify one area which you think that through the next 1-2 years, you will want to enhance yourself. Some aspect of this discovery that you have about yourself, you want to enhance. So what I'm suggesting to you is that just look at these 5 quadrants here. Within these 5 quadrants, choose something that you want to talk about that is related to your leadership, whether it's in terms of emergence or effectiveness or leadership in general. What aspect of this do you think that you want to improve or you want to strengthen or do you want to mitigate? So this is totally up to you to decide. So for me, neuroticism, let's say for example, I will just take neuroticism. So I would say one area I would like to develop in respect to leadership is emotional stability. My big 5 score for neuroticism is neuroticism is relatively higher than average. It means that I have some emotional instability issue. Which is inherent to my personality. So this here you have to read a little bit. You need to understand more what this neuroticism means. It means that you tend to see things negatively. Event affect you negatively more than others, and you tend to ponder upon incident that affect you negatively. For example, if someone reject you or someone unfriend you on Facebook, you'll be thinking and thinking and thinking about this kind of this event. People unfriend you on Facebook or they would give you a negative comment. So and sometimes you may suffer from being triggered, and then you become angry because your emotion is unstable, and this is linked to this is actually associated negatively to leadership, whether it's emergence or effectiveness, meaning people don't see you lead as a leader, like a leader. You are not leader-like to others. So your leadership emergence is negative and your neuroticism is high. So since my one is relatively high, so it seems this is the case for me. So I may want to rectify this. So maybe one coping mechanism, one coping mechanism would be to learn how to stop and not react immediately from a trigger situation. Blah blah blah, and then you have to elaborate, because you need to do some research a little bit on how to do this. Another would be to have close friends to talk about how you are feeling, blah blah blah, to dissipate the kind of anger, the kind of jealousy or envy that you have, this kind of negative feeling that you have. You have someone close you can talk to that help to mitigate this issue. So I'm suggesting that you only talk about one aspect in relation to leadership development from this whole five quadrant here. So you can link it back to in this way, in this model that I have, matrix that I have, it will be political. You can link it to servant leadership or Machiavellian. It's up to you. So you must make sure that it makes sense to you when you talk about this. And remember that when I talk about neuroticism actually is a trait characteristic that won't change. It won't go away. So it means that I have this tendency to behave like this in terms of my emotion. This is how I would feel, and this is who I am, and it will be consistent through my life, but I need to know how to cope with it. So this is how you do your leadership development. One aspect, choose from the highlighted yellow quadrants here.